Hello, and thanks for joining me. My name is Deborah Cotter, and I am with Access Counseling Services. And today I'm going to do a presentation on self-awareness. In June of 2019, the state of Ohio adopted for K through 12 social and emotional learning standards. Self-awareness is part of those standards that we're going to talk about today. Let's begin with some definitions. Social and emotional learning. It is the process through which children and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, attitudes, and skills necessary to understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. Specifically, self-awareness, which we're talking about today, is the ability to recognize one's own emotions and thoughts, including how they relate to one's identity and culture, how they influence behavior. Self-awareness is the ability to accurately assess one's strengths and limitations with a sense of integrity, confidence, and optimism. The goal is to build self-awareness of personal emotions, self-awareness of personal interests and qualities, self-awareness of a willingness to seek help for self or others, and a sense of personal responsibility, confidence, and advocacy. With that being said, our students are returning to school after quarantine for months, and that can be a trauma, not to mention other possible traumas of being at home for that length of time, possibly without a caregiver, or with a caregiver that is not used to that amount of continuous contact with their child. Children who have experienced trauma have strong, difficult emotions. Many do not have the vocabularies to identify and express the emotions they feel. Social emotional learning activities help build children's understanding of their own emotions by teaching vocabulary in the classroom to express them. Offering examples in everyday classroom activities, teachers can help students connect their feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. This can improve their abilities to identify their own feelings or recognize and relate to the feelings of others. Social emotional learning can also help children learn to manage the strong emotions they are experiencing. Educators can teach and help students implement self-calming techniques such as deep breathing, progressive relaxation, repetitive movement, and journaling in the classroom. Teachers who implement these activities throughout the day can help children who are exposed to trauma move from stress responses to calm states that allow them to attend to and retain new information. Not every child will experience trauma, but all children will face challenges. Social emotional learning teaches children the skills they need to build strong relationships, understand their emotions, and manage strong emotions in a safe, healthy way. These skills benefit all students, but especially those who have experienced trauma. Maya Angelou once said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style." This is what our mission should be for our students, is to not merely survive, but to teach them how to thrive, and to do so with passion, compassion, humor, and style. So the next part of our presentation is going to take a look at activities that are geared to foster self-awareness. We're going to look at identification of feeling. We're going to look at deep breathing, establishing a safe place, journaling, positive thoughts and affirmations, identification of supports, bibliotherapy, and how to make a calm down corner in your classroom. So under feeling identification, our first activity is called Color Your Heart by Paris Goodyear Brown. It's for ages 3 to adult, and the goals of the activity are to assess the extent of the student's emotional vocabulary and to assess and foster awareness of self-perception of emotional life. The instructions include have the students choose at least 5 to 8 feeling words and match them to a color. Give the student the following prompt. Color in as much of the heart as you want for each color you have in your color grid. Try to match the amount of the color that you put inside the heart to the amount of each feeling that is in your heart right now. So here's an example of what I use in my office. My heart, plus there are boxes to represent the color. That's going to represent the feeling that is chosen. So let's say we choose the color blue because we're going to use the feeling sad. And to me, that would be a blue. So we color in the box blue, and then we write the color off to the side. So we write sad, and yours will be a lot neater. Okay, and let's pick a different feeling. Let's say happy. So to represent happy, we're going to use yellow. And so we color in yellow in the box. And then off to the side, we will write the word happy. And you will go through this process with, maybe 4 or 6 more different feelings so that you have a good representation. And then you just ask the student, like the instructions said, to color in the amount of their heart with the amount of the color that they have that represents how they're feeling right now. So let's say that they're going to color in the sad, and they're going to color in this part of the heart. Okay, so they'll just color in as much or as little of that as they have. And don't be surprised if it just isn't totally filled in. They may not be able to take the time to just fill in all that area that they want. And then we switch to happy. How much happy is there? And maybe there's a whole bunch of happy, and they just scribble all the yellow there. And then you move on to the next color. Sometimes they'll overlap, and that's okay. Then there's processing questions that you could use for this. Are there any feelings that you would like to add or take away from your heart? Maybe they're not as happy as they shown there. So they may have to either color over it, try and erase it, whatever it is that they may have, it might be just a little bit of happy there. Okay. How would you like your heart to look in 6 months? How would you like it to look in a year? One thing you can do is get a binder and make sure the date and the name of the child is on there, and just keep in the binder so that they can look back. Wow, there's quite a few days that there's a lot of sadness. What was going on during that time? Or there was a lot of fear and for a few days. What was that about? So you can kind of talk about this and process their feelings and identify their feeling with what was going on in their life. So this can easily be done on a daily basis or throughout the day, because emotions change regularly. So it's going to be something that can be done on a regular basis. This is an activity that can easily be done in distance learning as well. So that's the nice thing. Still under the identification of feeling, we have our next activity, which is what emotion is this? and it's for about age 3 to 5, depending on the development of the child. The goals of the activity are to assess the extent of the student's emotional vocabulary and to assist the student in identifying faces with emotions, which is very important in our socializing. Instructions are to cut out the emotions and paste them onto the correct spaces under the picture. These are the worksheets that I've used, and on the left you can see the faces, on the right are the emotions, and you just cut them out and paste them under the correct emotional face. It would be quite easy to create your own worksheets using emoticons or other faces, and then having your list of emotions, and then so you can continually practice this type of activity. Again, we're still under the identification of feelings, and this activity is called facial recognition. This is for your older students. It's very much like the previous activity, but for your older students. The goals are the same: to assess the extent of the student's emotional vocabulary and to assist students in identifying faces with emotions. The instructions, quite easily to write out the emotions under the picture, and this activity can also be easily done with distance learning. Here's the worksheet that's used for this particular activity. The picture is of real kids that are showing and demonstrating different emotions. And one way to make this an easier project would be to write down for the kids different emotions that they can use and just pick from the list to put underneath the picture. If you want to make it a little bit harder, you can just give them the sheet without having the choices. Sometimes there will be the same picture but a couple different options as far as maybe fear or surprise, and it's a good time to teach that people can have more than one emotion at the same time. Can you be scared and surprised at the same time? Well, of course you can. We'll give us examples of that. So it's a good teaching opportunity as well. This is our last identification of feeling activity. It's called Feelings Jenga, and it's for about any age group from 3 on up. The goals of the activity are to assess the student, their emotional vocabulary, and to assist the student in learning and expressing emotions. So the instructions include the need to prepare the Jenga pieces by writing feeling words on each piece. For younger players, you may want to draw emojis or drawings. Play Jenga per the instructions per the game. For each piece that is drawn to play, the student will read, they may need help doing this, the feeling word, define it, and share the last time that they felt it. You may want to have them act out the feeling. Be creative and, use this as creatively as you can.